Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 1 preview between the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Browns.
The Browns made some key acquisitions in the offseason, in particular the coaching staff. You look at head coach Rob Chudzinski, offensive coordinator Norv Turner, and defensive coordinator Ray Horton. Both coordinators, in my opinion, will have to bring much-needed improvement to a squad that has some issues on both sides of the ball last season. The passing game is expected to take big strides this year with Brandon Whedon at quarterback, but in all honesty, nothing will flourish if they can't run the football with Trent Richardson. That's going to be first and foremost for any offensive game plan. And defensively, you look at Ray Horton bringing over his 3-4 defense, and I think they were tailor-made to make that switch. I love some of the pieces they already have in place. And in the secondary, they have two guys that I think are bona fide studs in TJ Ward, the safety, and Joe Hayden, the cornerback. Now let's move over to the Dolphins, and defensively, the Dolphins will be able to compete week in, week out. They're going to be multiple in their fronts, and they should be able to apply pressure versus the run, as well as getting to the quarterback. The linebacking core is active, and I'm a big fan of their secondary with Rashad Jones and Brent Grimes. Offensively, they have some pieces in place to work with, and it's all about being consistent and executing. Running the football, I think, won't be a problem this year. Lamar Miller will do just fine in the backfield. The passing game is where I have the concern because of the leaky pass protection that has been displayed throughout the course of the preseason. And also, in my opinion, the jury is still out on Ryan Tannehill and his ability to move through his progressions. He also has to show better pocket awareness if this offense is going to really take the next step.
The Browns can have some success versus the Miami Dolphins this week. It's just going to require some communication in the secondary, and they're going to have to read coverages on the fly and pass guys off. I'm going to show you how they can effectively communicate in the secondary by doing so. This right here is your basic 5 under coverage with 2 deep. So we got 2 deep. We're going to protect 5 underneath. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to have the cornerback over here. His main responsibility is to get his cushion. He's going to get a good bump, get his cushion. If nobody threatens his zone, he closes in on his number 1 wide receiver, so he's covered. Then you look at the nickel back. Well, let's start on the inside. What the inside backer is going to do, he's going to pass off the flow back. Flow is going this way, so he's going to pass this guy off and ride the inside of this in route. It's going to squeeze that in route. Now, this backer, his job, he's going to start high. He's going to start as his tight end is coming off the line of scrimmage. His job is to start high, ride this route. He sees flow coming his way. He's been passed off by the backer. Now his job is to take that back. Now you have the crosser, and the backer here is going to close in on this crosser because that's his responsibility, is coming into his zone. Now, for the safety, what the safety's job is in this situation, if no deep threat is threatening his zone, we saw the tight end break off this route. His job is to get his depth and close in on top of that route. So you're essentially squeezing that in route. Now on here, you have the corner, job is to get a bump, get cushion, and ride this route. Now, if he has to be alert, because if this crosser is getting away from this backer, his job is to close in on a crosser because you have the safety that's only responsibility is to work over to that number 5 wide receiver. So if the Browns are able to communicate in the secondary, they can have a chance to not only play an effective coverage, but also getting pressure. When you look at the Miami Dolphins in this matchup, they have an advantage by having a quarterback that has some athleticism. And I think they have to use Tannehill's athleticism to their advantage. And here's how they can do that while also getting the running backs in the game, or in the passing game. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to draw up a play where you can utilize Tannehill's athleticism on the move, and then I'm going to draw up a play where you utilize the running backs in the passing game. Right here, we're going to get Tannehill on the move and also create an opportunity for Mike Wallace and also the running back. So we're going to put the tight end on the backside. We're going to force the defense to focus on everything weak side, because the strong side is designated by the tight end, but also weak side it has the strength because we're going to have 3 wide receivers here. We're going to put a back in the backfield. We're going to put a back here. So this is a running back. You know, this could be Lamar Miller. You want to get him in space. You also have a wide receiver here, and you have Mike Wallace, who has the speed. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to get Tannehill on the move, a sprint out. We're going to have the back hurry up and get that in-man on line of scrimmage block. Center is going to walk this way, guard, tackle. All those guys are blocking this way. We have your turn back protection on this end, protecting the backside as Tannehill sprints out to the corner. Now, the first read would be the running back running in the flat. That's the quick dump off. Boom. Why? Because we have the slot receiver running a rub route, now, or a pick, or however you want to call it. If you're a defensive player, you call it cheating. If you're offensive, you call it a rub route or a pick route. And versus zone, he should pivot out and get 4 to 6 yards worth of depth. Versus man, continue to run the rub route. So this is your first read. And as Tannehill's splitting out and the cornerback is going to see this running back going into the flat, you want to have Mike Wallace run the takeoff. Tannehill can make that bucket throw. That's one thing he does do exceptionally well. He can make that bucket throw in the hole as Mike Wallace is sprinting down the sideline, or if this is covered, he has the running back in the flats. Now, we're going to drop another play where he can get the running back as well as the tight end involved in the passing game on crossers. Now, in the second play, we put Tannehill in the shotgun with Lamar Miller in the backfield, and we're going to fake the draw and get him out in the route as well. We're going to have 2 clear out routes on the outside, however. We're going to put Mike Wallace in the slot this time. We're going to have him run a 12-yard in route. Get that depth, 12 yards. Versus zone, try to find a place to settle down here. Versus man, run straight across. Now what we're going to do, we're going to fake the draw up the center, and that gives the linebackers the illusion, okay, they're going to play action pass. Lamar Miller is going to quote-unquote block. But we're sending him up 6 yards, running across the formation, and we're bringing the tight end across the formation 6 yards as well, creating that rub right here. You can either hit the tight end, the running back or the tight end, or if the defense covers both, you have Mike Wallace behind. And that's going to hold that backer, that's going to hold that safety. It's going to put those 2 guys in a bind because the safety is going to have to make a choice. Either I help out on the clear out routes, or do I squeeze this in route, or do I sit back and wait? Either way, he's going to be wrong. It's up to Tannehill to hit one of his options. But that's how you can put Tannehill on the move and also utilize the running backs in the passing game this week versus the Cleveland Browns.
Now, here are some coaching points for both teams in this matchup. For the Dolphins, the receivers are going to have to win those individual matchups out there on the flanks. You got to be able to beat one-on-one. You got to be able to catch the football across the middle in order for this passing game to take flight. And you have to get aggressive versus Brandon Wheaton. He's not the most mobile of quarterbacks, so you can get aggressive in your pressure packages to knock him off the spot. And the Dolphins also have to excel in spread formations. That's how you can defeat a 3-4 defense. You can either run right at it. You can also have 2 tight ends that excel, or you can stay in those spread formations that widens out those rush lanes, and that way Tannehill can easily decipher where these guys are coming from and pick them apart. And for the Browns in this ball game, they're going to have to get off the field defensively. Third down defense is vital if you want to win a football game. And I look at the big matchup between Joe Hayden and Mike Wallace. That's a matchup that Hayden has to win each and every down. When we look at the interior offensive line with Greco, Mack, Laveo, it's going to be imperative that these guys win the battle in the trenches because Starks and Solai, the 2 defensive tackles for the Dolphins, are very good versus the run. The X factor for the Browns will be Trent Richardson. If he can get off to a great start in 2013, that bodes well for the Browns moving forward, but he has to get it going in order for them to win this ball game versus the Dolphins. The pass protection is going to be key in this ball game for Miami. If they can keep Ryan Tannehill well protected in the pocket, he can have his way with the short to intermediate passing game and putting the ball in the hands of the playmakers. So across the board, from tackle to tackle, these guys will have to earn their paychecks this week versus the Browns. I like the Browns in this ball game. I think their offensive line will be the reason why they're successful this week versus Miami. They can pass protect, they can fire off the football in the running game, because I think both defenses will come to play, but who can put the ball in the end zone, who can move the football consistently, I think the Browns' offensive line is a lot better than what Miami is bringing to the table right now. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Brown fan forums and Dolphin fan forums for always showing football game plan support.